Hi, today we are going to learn on about repetition control structure. This is another advanced topics. How do we can create the condition? Okay, create the condition in our program so that we are able to make a repetition. Okay, in some parts, in some flow in our program. Okay, so let's try to understand at first the flowchart. Okay, let's try to understand the concept, okay, of repetition control structure by understanding the flowchart here. Okay, so as you can see here, okay, so this is a part that is showing the process of repetition. Alright, so let's say we have an input values, and then we will evaluate that input values whether that it meets the expression, the boolean expression here, or the condition. Okay, if these expression are true, okay, if these boolean expression are true, then as you can see here, it will execute the statement A. It could be output statement, okay, it could be input statement, or it could be a process. All right, so and then what happened after you performing all these statements? So it will, you have to update, yeah? You have to update the input or the control variables, okay, that you use to control this repetition. All right, so you see here, after you update, it will go, the arrow here, instead of going down, it's going up to shows the process of repetition. Okay, so this is the process of repetition. Okay, instead of repetition, there are some books or some reference, they say it as a loop. Yeah? Okay, they say it's a loop, right? So, and after it update the control variables, okay, the control variables. So then what actually happened? Okay, it will evaluate again that control variable. Okay, either that control variable could be an input variable that we put before, or it could be some things that we use to process the information. Maybe we have to initialize that input variable first. Okay, so and then if let's say the boolean expression is false, so then it stop. Okay, it will go out from this loop. Okay, it will exit this loop, and then it can go for statement B. Right, so basically that is the general flowchart of how to execute the the concept of repetition or loop control structure. Okay, so in order to create this condition, repetition condition, okay, in our program, there are two types of keywords that we can use. Okay, the first one we call is as a while loop, while keywords. Another one is a for I in range. Okay, for I in range. So I here is the control variable. Okay, so we are going to take a look one by one. The first one, we are going to take a look into the while loop. Okay, the while loop. All right, so the expression, the general expression of the while loop can be initiate like this. Okay, this is to represent what actually happened here. Okay, if we are using the while loop. Okay, so after the keyword while, so we will write the, as usual, we will write the expression here. All right, and then after that it must be and the expression. Okay, if you want to show that we already finished to define the expression here together with the keywords. Okay, so we have to use double colon here, and then you can write any statement, programming statement, if this is true. Okay, so the same principle when you applying keyword. Okay, when you want to create the other conditional structures, okay, in your program, for example selection control structure, so you also have to define it using a indentation. Okay, so the statement, the true statement under that, if let's say, okay, that is true, okay, if this is true, then what are the statements that will be executed under this expression. If this is true, then you have to apply the indentation here. Okay, indentation. All right, so let's do a simple example here. Okay, our task is to create a program to calculate the square value of series of integer value from 1 until 5. Okay, use the while keyword. The expected output is something like this. Okay, so this is the value, the integer value, okay, of 1, and then its square value will be displayed beside of it. Okay, so in this case the square value of 1 will be 1. So we know that the relationship to find the square value of this number is we have to multiply with itself. Okay, all right, so in this case 1, okay, to achieve this is we have to do 1 times 1 lah. Okay, 1 times 1 to get 1. Okay, if let's say we want to find the square value of 2, so we have to do 2 times 2, so we will get the answer of square value of 2 is 4. So and the rest. Okay, so one of the best way is to demonstrate the solution using a flowchart. So to show the flow of the program using a flowchart. So over here I create this is what we call, okay, of course we have to start with start, and then at this section, at this part, okay, what I do is I initiate, okay, I initiate the control variables. Okay, control variables, okay, with value 1. Alright, so the control variable here is 1. So why we call it control variable? Because we are going to use that to construct the condition, the Boolean expression that we are going to test in this conditional section. Okay, so later on, after, okay, for example, after let's take a look into this flow. Okay, after I initiate the value of control variable equal to 1, then I will access it here. Okay, so whether it less or equal to 5. So if it is true, it will compute the square value of the value initially here is 1, so 1 times 1, so I will assign that into variable j here. Okay, and then I will display the value of I, which is currently 1, and beside of it I will display the square value of I. Okay, and here I compute it as a j. Alright, so this is actually happen here. So in this case it will display something like this later on. Okay, it will show something like this. Okay, so the first for the I equal to 1. Alright, and then what happened, I need to have the update statement here. So update statement here, I use this notation plus equal to 1, I plus equal to 1, which is also similar meaning with I equal to I plus 1. Okay, means that I updating. So now the value of I will become 2. Okay, because the previous I is 1, so 1 plus 1, so the new I is 2, so it will loop again and it will be accessed again. So I less than 5 because now I equal to 2. So once you check at this condition, so you define that, okay, it's still true for this statement, so it will go again. So now I equal to 2, so 2 times 2 will become 4, and I input that value into j. Alright, and then I display what is that value of I, which is 2, and then the value of j. Currently after we calculate 2 times 2, then the value is 4, and then I update again. Okay, so the new I in this case, okay, since the previous value of I is 2, okay, the current value of I is 2, so 2 plus 1 give me the new value of I equal to 3. Okay, so this loop will keep continuing run until the condition here are false. Okay, so until the condition here are false. So if this false, for example, after you updating the value of control variable I already equal to 6, so 6 mean this is false for this statement, so we'll go to this statement. Okay, going out from this loop, exiting the loop, and then print the complete, okay, it print the complete statement here and will terminate the program. Alright, so let's take this action into code. Let's type the code, okay, and we are going to use the while statement here, the while statement to define this process. Okay, at the first place here, I have to initiate the value of I. So I equal to, I equal to 1. Right. So the next is I want to evaluate this, and I want to evaluate this condition, and I want to perform a looping kind of activity here. Okay, if let's say this is met, so it go to true, so it will loop. Okay, so it will go loop. So one of the keyword that we can use is the while keyword. Okay, we can use the while keyword, and we write the Boolean expression here, which is I less than or equal to 5, and then it must be, okay, the syntax, okay, after we create this condition, we define this condition using a while loop, so we have to end it with double colon or colon here. Okay, so when I click enter, so it will automatically indent it, and we have to write, okay, what happened if this statement is true. So the first statement that will happen is it will compute the value of I times I. Okay, so this is to find the square of I, and I will initiate, I will input, okay, I will assign this value, the result of this value, into variable j here. Okay, into the variable j here, which is, for example, if let's say I equal to 1, so 1 times 1, so I will get j equal to 1. Right. Alright, so the next statement is to display, okay, alongside of it, the left side I want to display the value of I, and the right side I want to display the value of j, okay, which is the square value of I. So in this case, I use the print statement. Okay, so the best way is to use dot format method, so that is more convenient for me to display, so I have to write the placeholder here. Okay, and another placeholder. So the first placeholder is I want to take the value of I. Okay, I want to this placeholder will receive the value of I. Okay, so this placeholder will receive the value of I. Oh, sorry, we have to assign them, okay, as a string, so they must be put in the string here, and then we apply the dot format method. We apply the dot format method. So we want to send the value at the first placeholder here is the value of I, so I put the variable I here inside the dot format keyword arguments. Okay, and another one, I want to send the value of square, it's the value of the j here, okay, which is the square of I, the square of I. Okay, the square of I, so we just put the j here. Okay, all right, take a look into this program. So we want to, and then after that we have to update. The next statement is to update. Okay, so in this case I can use I equal to I plus 1. Okay, I plus 1, but for me it's better to, instead of writing this, I want to write it something I plus equal to 1, which is the equivalent statement with I equal to I plus 1. Alright, so let's do some comment here. So let's do some comment of the important part. For example, this is where we initialize the value of control variable. So we use the pound symbol. So initialize the value of control variables I. Okay, so we initialize the value of control variables I. So this part is actually this showing the update statement. Update statement for control variable I. Okay, so it is important to have the update statement, okay, in your program, okay, in your loop, because you want to avoid the infinity loop here. Okay, you want to avoid the infinity loop. Okay, so what is meant by infinity loop is, okay, for example, if we don't have the update statement, so the value of I here will be always equal to 1, because we don't update the value of I. So if if this is happen, so that is what we call as an infinity loop. Okay, your program always perform a looping action here. Okay, so you have to provide the update statement so your program can be exited from this loop after a certain kind of condition. If let's say you already achieve your output, okay, so our output here is to print, okay, is to print the square value of a series from number 1 until 5. Okay, so if let's say in this case, if the control variable that we use I already greater than 5, so it will execute the loop here. Okay, so what happened after we execute the loop? We will print the complete statement. So let's click enter in our program. So you see it's still indented. So because this is out of the loop, so you have to click backspace to make sure that this statement, the print statement for the complete, okay, complete character here, complete string here, will be not part of this block of code. Okay, not part of, let's say if while it's true, it's not part of it. Okay, so it's out of this loop. Okay, so you have to not to apply indentation under the while loop. Okay, so this is under the main flow of the program. Okay, so when I run this statement, so it will, okay, you see here, it will print the output. Okay, it will print, okay, the output as I expected. So this is the value of integer, a series of integer from 1 until 5, and then on the right side, okay, on the right side is the value there of their square value. Okay, the value of the square value. All right. Okay, so another keyword that we can use to define or to control the flow structure in our program is for in range. Yeah? For in range. So in this statement, we also define the control variable, okay, I here, okay, at the same line of this statement. Okay, so in this case for I in range, and then inside here we have a keyword argument. Okay, and the first keyword argument is the initial value of the I, the control variable here. Okay, if let's say we start with 1, so the initial value of I we will assign into 1. Okay, so the n here is the boundary. Okay, for example, if let's say I set the boundary is equal to 6, I will never equal to 6, but it's according to the step size here. Okay, for example, I declare the step size here is 1, so the next iteration of the value or the variable I will become, okay, because we start with 1, okay, the variable I here, we initiate the value with 1, and then the next value we increase by step 1 here, so the next value of I will become 2. Okay, so the next value of I will become 2, and then the next one, okay, it will increase again 3, 4. Okay, it's according to step 1. Yeah, okay, step which is equal to 1. All right, but the I will until, okay, the first iteration I equal to 1, and then this is start. Okay, the second one I equal to 2, I equal to 3, I equal to 4, I equal to 5. But the I will never equal to 6 because the n here is the boundary. Okay, the limit. Okay, so the I will never approaching, I will never equal to 6. All right, so in this case, for our problem, okay, just now, okay, if let's say we want to create, yeah, if we want to create the program, okay, we use the similar example, okay, that we want to show the square value of the value. For example, 1, the square value is 1, so we want to display the square value until 5, which is 25 lah, the square value of 5. Okay, so the same flowchart we are going to use here, but we are going to define, we are going to create a program using for in range loop. Okay, for in range loop. So let's go to the coding parts. Okay, let's go to the coding parts. Okay, so in this case, the initialization process will occur in this statement. Okay, in this conditional statement. okay, the conditional statement will occur here. Okay, so for I in range, we will define that conditional statement in this way. All right, so how to define this I less than or equal to 5 in this conditional statement? So we have to use for, okay, I in range. Okay, so you see here what actually happened. Okay, what actually happened is we perform, okay, in a single keyword for I in range, we will construct this code together, and then also the update statement inside here. Okay, they can be assembled into a single code here. Okay, so for I in range, let's do it first, and later I will discuss about it. I will talk about this. Okay, so the start here, we want to initialize first the value of I equal to 1. Okay, and then the iteration is up to 6, but the value of I will never equal to 6. It's just a boundary. Okay, this is boundary. And the step size of the increment, how do we update the I? Okay, so the update process now occur. Okay, the update process here now is occur inside this statement. Okay, inside this statement, so it update by increment by 1. Okay, and then we will use double colon to show that we finish, okay, assigning, creating the conditional statement here. Okay, and then the next, okay, so we just proceed with j. Okay, j equal to I times I. Okay, the next one will be print. So print, okay, and then we want to print. Okay, we will use this dot format method. So I will place the placeholder there. Okay, so and then dot format, I initiate this method. So the variable that I want to send to the placeholder is the first one is the I, and then the second one is j. All right, so and then we will, okay, the next statement, okay, the update statement is occur here, so we don't have to write it in this part of the command. Okay, so the next one is to display the complete statement. So print display, the print complete. Okay, so you see here, okay, it also produce the same result as we write using the while loop previously. Okay, but the things that can differentiate, okay, between these two code, okay, you are able to make the line become more lesser. Okay, so in this case, you see the process of initialization is everything is occur here. Initialization, when you're defining the condition, and also you define the update statement also occur here. So in this case, you try to calculate, so by using a while method approach, so the number of line that we require is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you are using a loop, okay, for loop, okay, for loop keyword, so we managed to reduce it from 6 into 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so managed to reduce it from 6 until 4. So anyway, the code, the total code we use to define the overall process of looping is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So loop we managed to reduce it until 3 lah. Okay, so managed to reduce. So for me, it depends on you. You can either choose the while loop and also the for in range loop. It depends on the convenience and which one that you prefer to use. All right, so thank you very much.